I guess that's a really interesting question. There are absolutely stacks of challenges, which is what makes working in events marketing so much fun. I think if I was probably going to focus on a couple of them, otherwise I'll be here all day, I think the two that I would pick are event technology, because there's just so much event tech out there that you could probably hire somebody full time to sift through all the stuff that comes through the desks. You probably need to hire somebody else full time to go through all of the implementation of it. I actually kind of liken it a little bit to the Grand National, in that you have 40 horses, you're not really sure which one's to back, and even when you do back them, you've got a whole course full of obstacles, so everything might be going swimmingly, and then you kind of hit a bump right at the end. That's kind of being a little bit flippant, but I think in terms of the tech, it's trying to find one that helps you communicate with the right audience and the right channel, something that adds something to the delegate experience, something that the sponsors have opportunities with, and then also, last but not least, is something that the event teams can work with in a very easy manner, because clearly everyone's got quite a lot to do, and the actual back-end system is really important. And I think the second thing is data, and data always used to be our competitive advantage. It was really difficult to get hold of data, but increasingly, particularly with social profiles, etc., everybody's data's everywhere, and you've kind of, as an events company, you've lost that competitive advantage because anybody can launch anything anywhere. So I think from the marketer's point of view, it's how we segment that data, how we really drill it down, and how we engage with people all year round. We know that we get much better results the more segmented we go. So I think data side is critical, and there's a huge amount of work for everyone to do on that. Well, I hope content marketing's relevant and important, otherwise no one's going to watch this video. But for me, a kind of definition of content marketing is really a way to promote the brand or event, but to do so in a much more subtle manner, so that we're engaging with people all year round. And I think for me, the easiest way that I kind of think of content marketing, probably the publishing background, or the way to explain it, is it's very similar to controlled circulation magazines, really, which was, you had an editorial team who wrote great content, we gave it away for free, and then we produced a whole load of events around the side of it, and we also sold advertising and those sorts of things, but the whole basis of that model was around great content. Times have changed as it's moved on, and the channels are different, as are the way, the formats that we produce that content in. But first and foremost, the principle's still exactly the same, and I think from Incisive's point of view, the two things that are of great interest for content marketing around the event side, first is that we know people interact with that content in a much better way than they do with the real hard commercial sell. I think there's predominantly so many messages out there and so many competitors that if you're pushing stuff that's of benefit, people like things that are free, they like things that are value, they don't like being sold to. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing really is just the whole relationship between, we're a publishing house, so we have an editorial team, how the teams work together and what that relationship is and how that content's produced. I think some brands work much better than others. I think commercial conference companies have a slightly different problem in terms of who's going to produce the content, is it a required standard, etc., and how it's going to be done. But I think in a publishing house, it's how those editorial and commercial and events teams work together. I think one thing almost has accidentally helped us at Incisive is we used all of our editorial products used to be in Google First Click free, and we've actually come out of that, which has meant that the products themselves have to do content marketing to make sure that the content's in front of people in their audience. So by doing that then opens up a lot of the content for the events teams to use. That doesn't help with speaker videos and those sorts of things, which we know are great, and we still do those separately. But in terms of opening up the content, we've seen great engagement from the really good in-depth pieces that the editorial teams write, and that they're really renowned for. I think social's becoming more important and less of an afterthought. I think it really depends on the audience. Some audiences are far more responsive than others, and some brands are better at it than others, and some marketers are better than others. It's kind of human nature as to who's interested in what. At Incisive, we've had some really good results on paid LinkedIn and Twitter particularly, which we've learned quite a lot of things from. That's been really good. Will we ever use social to its full potential? I'd probably argue not, and I'd probably argue I don't think anybody will, just by the very nature of how quickly it's moving. And if you take Periscope, for example, something really, really interesting in the event sphere, in terms of being able to stream live from events, it's absolutely fantastic. So that's a real positive. But then flip side is, if you've got speakers, you've got privacy issues, copyright issues, if you've got paid delegates and you're streaming it out live, what's the impact on that? So I guess at Incisive, what we'll probably do is pick 3-4 events, we'll test it, we'll see what the results are. And by the time we've done that, it will be 6-9 months down the line, and there'll probably be another 10 things that have come about in the social sphere that we'll probably need to keep up with. So I don't think we'll ever be in a position for its full potential, but that's exciting because it means that we're always learning stuff.